Hey guys, and welcome back to another Gold Guru. Today we are going to be talking about stack sizes. So what is important about stack sizing? Basically, the size of the stack you post on the auction house will make a big difference to the price it will eventually sell at. The basic idea here is that most people are very lazy, including myself, and we will often go and buy stacks of 5, stacks of 10, stacks of 20, or stacks of 200 if it's a herb, rather than going through the walls of stacks of 1 on the auction house that no one wants to do. So high stacks do sell a lot more. In fact, pretty stacking is a pretty viable way of making gold, full stop. That's just when you buy up all the items on the auction house that aren't in nice stacks, that aren't in stacks of 5 or 10 or 20 of your specific item, and then you relist them in the stacks of 10 and 20 for a much higher price than what you bought them at. And that's actually a really good way to flip items. Now that's the basic idea, and most people already kind of know that. But what most people don't take into account is the whole idea of the stack size in their sort of wider gold making. For example, lots of people tell me that alchemy doesn't make any gold anymore because everyone has rank 3s now and the price of herbs isn't great, and yeah, it's just too much competition, and that means that the prices of the flasks are much lower. If you look here, a flask of 10,000 scars makes me only 37 gold per, and flask of whispered pact actually loses me 25 gold. And that's also taking into account the rank 3 because my crafting operation calculates that, so it doesn't look good, does it? But if we examine a little bit further, I think you'll see we'll make a nice profit from all of these probably. Let's go and have a look. So Flask of the Whispered Pact says we lose 25 gold, and that's at the 400 gold that, or the 393 gold that it says is at on the auction house. And as you can see, it is 393 gold. But we're going to be crafting a lot because we've got a bit of capital and we want to make some good profits. So we're going to make 100 flasks. So now we make 100 and we would sell that in either 5 stacks of 10 and 2 stacks of 20 and 2 stacks of 5, or I'd probably just sell in 5 stacks of 20 because the 20 stacks sell pretty well, or maybe 10 stacks of 10. Anyway, if we go down, the nearest, oh look, the 10 stacks of 10 is 600 gold. You know, 50% higher than what it says. So we would be selling at 600 gold, say, and we would be making 200 gold profit per flask instead of the minus 25 that it says, if you know what I mean. I mean, if we go down even further, the only 20 stacks are on for 1,500 gold each, which is way too much. No one's going to buy that, but still gives you the whole idea how higher and neatly put stacks are going to go for a much better price. Funny thing is, I actually bought some of these earlier on my Resto Druid, and I didn't buy out the stacks of 1, I went and bought the stacks of 5, so there you go. I do it, and I like to keep an eye on my gold, so for those rich raiders buying it, it should usually be no problem for them. They just want to get there quick, and they are going to go for your 5 and 10 stacks surprisingly often. So what I could do now is buy out all of these that are at 450 and below. So that would be 13, 15, 27, 33. And then I could put them as a stack of 20, 2 stacks of 5, and stack of 3, you know? And I could post all that for 500 gold, or the stacks of 10 I could put for 600 gold. And I bet you anything they would sell for that price. I'm not going to do it now, only because I want to get this video out and not waste time waiting for it to sell. Take another example, Flask of the 7th Demon, 499 gold is the lowest price, and that is stacks of 5, so that says we'll make 100 gold if we sell them for that. But the stacks of 10 and stacks of 20 are for 100 gold more. So really you're not making 91 gold per, you're making 191 gold per. So you do really have to think about that when you're crafting. It might not look like you're making a profit, but you don't always sell at the min price. You sell at a good price, the best price, whatever price you can find that has your stack size at. Now it wouldn't work quite as well for these because someone has posted 2 stacks of 5. You could just buy them out and repost. That'd probably be better. Just flip them. But if people have posted stacks of 5 low and you're posting stacks of 10, people will probably just buy out the stacks of 5 because, you know, 2 stacks of 5 equals a 10. They're not going to bother going right down and paying more just for a couple of extra clicks or saving a couple of extra clicks. But in general, when the stacks are 1, like we saw with the Whispered Pact, you're going to want to post at your stack size in stacks of 20, 10 and 5, and you'll be able to get a lot more gold for your items. This can work for anything. If we go on the Defiled Augment runes, those are 340 gold in the stacks of 1, but the stacks of 5s are at 420, almost 100 gold more, and people will buy those stacks of 5. Here they are. So again, you could just buy up all these and repost them in stacks of 5 and you'd make a nice bit of profit. Or if you just have some and want to sell them, do not sell at this price, sell in a higher stack and sell at the higher price. Now I'll just show you guys my TSM groups. If you go onto my TSM operations and string video, you will be able to get my link for these, but most of you already have that or have your own. Just wanted to show how I sell my flasks, and this can be anything. I'm just using flasks as an example. So I sell in 5 stacks of 20, I sell 10 stacks of 10, and I sell 10 stacks of 5, so that's 250 flasks that I can put up at once. But the important thing, if we view the operation in more detail, is I check the match stack size button in the operation. What does that do? It means, like I was just saying, it's going to ignore all the stacks of 1, all the stacks of anything. It's going to find the stack of 5 and it will just undercut the stack of 5. So it's really good. It just means I make a lot more gold and sell for a lot higher price than I otherwise would. And it might take a tiny bit longer to sell, but if you're making that much more gold, it's really worth it. And you'd be surprised how often people just buy out the pretty stacks instead of going through the stacks of 1. So I hope you guys can see how these Gold Guru guides can sort of be brought together to help give you a really good idea of sort of gold making techniques. For example, in the first episode we talked about resetting markets and how to choose which items to reset. So something like the Defiled Augment runes, which aren't very easy to farm, they would be a good thing to reset. So you might pick that. And then in the second Gold Guru episode we talked about the importance of timing. So you'd want to buy these out at the weekend when all the LFR people are running and people are selling them for quite cheap. And then you'd want to sell them on the Wednesday or Tuesday when the reset is, everyone's raiding, all the tryhard guilds want to buy the runes. And then from this episode you wouldn't sell them in stacks of 1, you'd sell them in stacks of 5 or 10 and get even more gold. So you know, you can bring all those together and start to hopefully see a real difference in terms of the market and how you approach the auction house and gold making in general. But yeah, that's about it guys. I put my mic a bit louder, so I don't know if it's any better, let me know. And I hope this will be in 1080, but if not, does anyone know how to record in 1080 on OBS? Because mine seems to be recording on 720, so do let me know if you have any experience with OBS. Lastly, again, I'd like to say thanks so much for all the support of my Patreon video, and I've actually had loads of new patrons. I've been talking to them on Battle.net or on Patreon. It's been really great, and yeah, just thanks guys, whoever you are. I know I've spoken to you, it does help a lot. It's been super cool. and keep your ideas coming for new videos, new series, because I'm always interested, and hopefully we can get going with a few of those. My voice is going, don't know if you can hear, but yeah, that's it. Thanks very much for watching, and until next time, see ya.